All right, let's try this again. Camo Studio crashed, but I guess we'll see if we're back. Anyways, back on it, back on Antigravity this morning, and I spun up a Remotion. Just started working with Remotion and Antigravity. Yesterday we were working on some, just creating a vertical content for a fictional pizza joint. So that was yesterday's project. Basically got through the render, installing Remotion, setting up Remotion, getting that configured, and then rendering out the video. So got the timeline working, sort of got a better understanding of how Remotion works, where it gets installed, where the assets go, where stuff gets done. Really didn't spend too much time with prompting. It was all fictional. But the cool thing about it was Antigravity just sort of built it from scratch. So it generated the assets using Nano Banana in terms of the images and stuff like that. So anyways, so I figured today, let me just see if the stream is up. It looks like it's up, but I don't see it happening. So let's just find out if we're live or not. Okay. Okay. It looks like we're good to go. So let's get started, shall we? So what this is on screen, this is just a fresh install. So I just created a brand new project for this. This is just called Video Real Estate. I just created a brand new empty folder, installed Remotion. So in a blank project, I just sort of ran whatever it is, the code to get started, which is like MPX create video at latest. And so what that'll do is it'll just ask you to choose a template. So it'll list a bunch of templates. I haven't messed with any of the templates other than blank, so I just created a blank template. Add Tailwind CSS. I think that is already enabled by default. So just yes, and then add agent skills. I think that's what the most interesting thing about. I think that's why people are sort of hopping on Remotion. I think Remotion as a application, as a sort of solution has existed for a long time, but now you can just basically prompt it. So you can run it from Claude or Cursor. In this case, I'm using Antigravity, but so that's why I think it's resurfaced or maybe seeing a much more traction, because you can kind of just prompt to motion videos, right? So, and I've been into like motion for a long time. Motion videos are just, I like the idea of it, but the process was always tedious. The idea of like spinning up After Effects and then just sort of like, keyframing things, animation wise, it can get very tedious and just in the weeds, and I like to stay more high level. I like the creative idea. I like thinking of different creative ways to solve the problem. I don't necessarily like the weeds of like fixing the things. So let's see. So where are we at? Empty project. You just install it, Remotion into your project, and then you'll have basically you basically fire it up, npmi. It'll install the packages. I think that's what npmi is. And then you run it, npm run dev, and then what will happen is it'll fire up a empty canvas. So then you have like this empty canvas that you're looking at. The default on this one in terms of the default on this one is like 1280. So the resolution is pretty low, but you can change that. It's typically, I think yesterday when I was looking at it, it's in the, I think it's in the source file, and then it's in the root. Yeah. So in the root section, this is what it created. Basically just creates a blank template. So again, I think if you're picking from templates, the resolution may vary, but if you need to modify it, then you can just simply change those settings here. 1280 by 720 is the blank canvas. That's fine with me for now, because we're experimenting here. Obviously, if you want to do something a little bit more high resolution, then you bump up the res to maybe standard. Like this is a standard definition, but if you want HD, then you do 1920 by 1080. And if you want something 4K, obviously, I don't know what 4K resolution is off the top of my head. It's like 3300 pixels or something like that. So yeah, so again, completely blank project, just empty. So for this stream, we're going to, if I haven't already said what we're doing, we talked about the fictional pizza joint and setting up the project from scratch. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different, but still use Remotion. So blank canvas, set up, start a project. If you didn't see the title on this project so far, it is called Video Real Estate, because that's what we're going to work on right now. So we're going to open the agent manager. So something I like about Antigravity is agent manager. You have this separate panel that's outside of where you typically prompt. And so you got a couple of different modes here, planning and fast. Right now I'm going to be in planning mode because I'm not really sure how I want to tackle this. What I want to do is basically set up a framework that will go look at Zillow, for instance, pull down some listing information. We're going to attempt to use the Firecrawl MCP, which is, if you're not familiar with Firecrawl, it's just a way to scrape data off of websites, whatever, and get information. So you can extract the information, scrape it, and then it'll return like information from the listing. So in this case, we want to take a look at a Zillow listing, pull down the info, and then spin it up into a Remotion sort of video, right? So let's say it's like a realtor or a real estate firm, and they have listings, and they want to create like local videos, really, that have like showcase the price, maybe a few pictures, some of the basic property listings that you would find on any real estate listing on Zillow, bedrooms, baths, price, square foot, a couple pictures. And then maybe animate some of this, and then maybe wrap it in something that like looks nice in terms of a presentation. That way, if you need a real estate video, you can get them done super quick. Well, that's the theory here. So that the idea is you can sort of, I think in real estate, you have a lot of listings. They come and go, they get sold, new ones pop up on the market. You need to produce content really quickly. You don't want to spend a ton of time on a listing. You don't know how long it's going to be on the market. But you need to showcase it. You're trying to sell it, right? So you want some sort of like showcase thing, video. And then you could take that video and you can pump it on whatever, organic. You can do paid placement. You can run YouTube ads. You can run TikTok ads, Twitter ads, whatever you want to do. So that's the end. That's the deliverable that we're trying to get to, is a video using Remotion and Antigravity. You can run Remotion, I think, in any, you can run it in Cursor, you can run it in Claude. Antigravity just happens to be what I am messing with these days. All right, so we got coffee. I don't know how long the stream is going to be, so I'm just, for posterity or whatever they say, I figured I might as well just fire up the stream and get it recorded. All right, if you have questions about anything, just let me know in chat. Otherwise, I'll be here plugging away, trying to plan this real estate video with Remotion. So on this section, start a new conversation. This is going to be in the project that I just created, Video Real Estate. And we are going to ask it. I think I'm just going to ask it. Interested in creating real estate videos for property listings that showcase the homes, that showcase the home for sale using Zillow listing data. All right, let's just see what it says. So we're in planning mode. I'm just going to prompt that out and see what where Antigravity thinks we should go. So it's looking at best practices. It's looking at the project structure. There's no project structure other than an empty folder, right? So it's looking at the packet. It's just looking at all the basic setup. All right, so it says it's already got Remotion ready because we installed it. The Firecrawl MCP is already enabled. And so what it's going to do here is ask for stuff. All right, so Zillow does not offer a free public API. Yes, we know that. Exploring different listings. So let's see. So actually, it's just searching the web. It's looking for a Beverly Hills address, search by example. Okay, so it's trying to do its own thing. It's browsing the web and looking for stuff. In this particular case, it still looks like it's trying to leverage Firecrawl. I didn't actually say to use Firecrawl. Firecrawl MCP is available because I installed it, but I don't know. It's, yeah. Part of this is like trying to figure out how Antigravity will solve the problem, you know, and if it's any good at it. So right now it looked like it's just trying to figure it out, and it's getting close. It looks like it's actually pulling an address and trying to like test a very specific address. In this particular case, it's got a listing, and it's trying to run through it. So it's getting some errors. It's still diagnosing the failure. It's still looking for a way to get to the data. And it looks like it's trying to create the schema for it. I have a schema that would work for this. I've already tested it using, so that's another thing. Like this isn't, at some point you think this is like vibe coding is somewhat random, but I think if you know the pieces in play, you can kind of guide your AI, if you will, guide Antigravity. Right now I'm just trying to see if Antigravity can figure this out on something basic like a prompt in planning mode. But using make.com, you can just do an HTTP request and then send a scrape call to Firecrawl and then get the data. And that worked. Now I'm trying to see if Antigravity can actually figure out that piece. So it's still cranking away here. Again, this is where, like, I don't know what the rate limit is on Antigravity, but I just feel like it churns tokens like crazy. Just going through all this thinking, like it's thinking, it's still failing. It's still looking for an official Firecrawl API, or no, it's looking for a Zillow API, but it knows that one doesn't exist. All right. So it says, I'm encountering technical difficulties using the task tracking tool. Made progress, extraction method, Zillow. It came to the conclusion that Zillow does not have a free API. Test case, it used a specific Zillow listing to test, and now it's going to attempt to use Firecrawl to scrape this URL so we can verify the extract data. No action needed from you, just notifying you before I proceed. All right, so, and then it sort of hangs right on the screen, and then you're like, well, okay, what are you doing? I think it's because it's in planning mode that it just, it just sort of like is waiting for you to do something. But this, in terms of Antigravity, using the agent manager, like it's not clear. Like I would just prefer to have some button that says, okay. So in this particular case, I'm just going to say proceed with the Firecrawl test. All right, so we are proceeding with the Firecrawl test. On YouTube, I get a audio stream's current bitrate is 0. I don't know why that happens. Yesterday it happened on the stream as well. It seemed to be okay in terms of stream health. But yeah, it says excellent on stream health. Let me just turn the audio on. Yeah, I mean, I think the audio's fine. If it's not, let me know. Or if you are here or running by, then let me know. All right, so it's testing. I said basically proceed with the test. It's doing a very specific listing here. I'm just going to open this up in a browser real quick, just to make sure this property listing actually exists. Okay, so it doesn't really exist in that capacity. I don't think. So it pulls up a page. So that's another problem. It didn't directly pull up an address. It pulled up, I'll show you what it pulled up. So it just pulls up this generic sort of Beverly Hills search page. Like the search here is Los Angeles 90210. It just, the URL that it's testing doesn't even exist per se. The URL that we need is actually like this one, right? So a very specific page, property page. It's sort of needs that URL, not the URL that it is testing. So that's not very helpful. All right, let's put this back here. Let's put this back here. All right, let's see what conclusion it came up with. And then let's put my YouTube stream back over here. Okay. All right. So we're back on, let's see. What did it do? Testing, conducting fire. It's continuing to get failures. Yes. It wants to do the browser agent approach instead. I don't want to do the browser agent approach. That means it's just going to like use a browser agent to go fetch the information manually. I think I just need from here to guide Antigravity a little bit and be like, this is the URL structure. We need to get, this is the actual, or like we need the actual property listing URL to feed Firecrawl. Extract, scrape endpoint. All right, so I'm going to feed it the URL. I'm going to feed it the URL that's the actual property listing, the thing like that I've tested before. So just using make.com, using an HTTP request. Again, it should work because, well, I don't know about the MCP, but I am using just a standard API call on the scrape endpoint for Firecrawl to get the thing. And I can show you what that looks like. Give me a sec. Let me just get make.com fired up so we could take a look at the request that I made for this kind of thing. Okay, basic Firecrawl request. Okay, details. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna show you what the make request looks like real quick. All right, so here's the Firecrawl request, right? Standard API call. Anyways, the data is here. So the data for this is here, right? So it's using the scrape endpoint, HTTP, Firecrawl dev v2. So the v2 scrape endpoint. And then it is pulling the correct data, right? So it's got the address, it's got the single family residence, property type, the price point, bedrooms, 27 bathrooms, 50,000 square foot house, description. This is provided by Firecrawl. It's just kind of a summary of the listing. And then the image URLs. The image URLs, I believe, are just the preview URLs, not the entire, like all the property photos. I think this listing has like 48 photos or something like that. So we should be able to get it, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I think it's struggling here in Antigravity, but we'll see. All right, let's see what's happening. It's still thinking. It's still trying to do its thing. We probably should have created a skill specifically for the MCP, and that's maybe a better way to do this. And maybe it's an MCP issue, but I don't see why it would be if we can get it from the basic extract like endpoint or scrape endpoint. All right, it's still failing. I might have to tell it like the specific endpoint to test, but this is where, like, again, I think it can be ambitious, but it gets, I mean, it's definitely thorough, I guess, with Antigravity, but again, the thing that concerns me obviously is how long it takes, right? So some of these requests, like, they take a long time. And I get that it's really trying to like figure it out, but in the back of my mind, I'm just wondering like how many tokens this is eating. And then I'm not familiar. I don't know what the plans include. There's no real specific, like there's only like rate limits on like published rate limits or reset. Like it doesn't actually say how many or how much you can use it. At least not that I'm aware of, but. All right, so let's see what's happening here. It is still trying to refine the tool logic. It is still trying to fetch. So like this would be pretty straightforward. At this point, what I want to do is probably feed it. Okay. All right, so now we got progress. We got pictures. We got a listing. We got the house. All right. Success. We have some real data here. All right. Making progress. So it's figuring it out. It's just taking a little bit longer than I thought. And so we're going to take a look real quick at the sidebar, not the sidebar. We're going to take a look at the, because we're an agent manager. Let me do this. Let me get this back over here. And then we'll go here and then here. And then let's put this back in the middle. I need to change the colors of the images for, what do we say? The images for, or the background. The beige, this tan background color scheme is the same in Agent Manager that it is in the regular view. Okay. All right. So what I wanted to do is just look to see what it's doing in terms of work. And all right, so let's go back here because it doesn't look like it actually changed anything. I don't think it changed anything. Maybe it modified the skills. No, it didn't modify anything yet. All right, I think it's because, again, we're in planning mode. So let's go back to planning mode, put this back in the middle, put that back over there. All right. So it successfully verified that it can extract the Zillow data using a scraper. I've prepared an implementation plan to build a video generating this data. Plan highlights mock data. We'll create a mock Zillow data with just the details I scraped from the listing. The video structure, the Remotion with the React and Tailwind. Please review the thing. So then it's asking you to, so these are like artifacts. So it's asking you to, so Antigravity builds artifacts, and it's this way for it to stay on track and figure out like what it collected. And so it's got all this stuff, and it's going to basically now make the changes. So it's going to build out the Zillow data, the JSON file, to store the information, to find the listing. It's got the images. It's going to populate it with the verified data. It's going to create the various slides. So in this particular case, it's going to create an intro slide, detail slide, gallery slide, outro slide. And then it's going to have a composition. So it accepts the Zillow listing. Well, let's just see if you guys can, yeah, you can still see this. Root, load the mock data, register it, verify it. Then we're going to build it and see if it works. So let's see. So I'm just going to close this. This is again where it's like you can review. Also, there's a thing you can do with Antigravity where you can review stuff. So if you don't like something, you can just add a comment to it and it'll like take that into consideration. But here's where, again, maybe I'm more familiar with the way that Lovable does this or Bolt does it. But once they present a plan, then like you can just approve the plan and then it'll just do it. In this particular case, like you review the plan, but then there's no clear way, like you click review and it's just like, okay, what do you want to review or do you want to submit a comment? So I'm not, and again, there's subtle differences. I mean, this is Antigravity, which is a fork of like, I guess, VS Code, and Cursor is also a fork of VS Code. So whether you're using VS Code or Antigravity or Cursor or Claude, I don't think Claude has an IDE, Windsurf, then they're all going to have like differences, but at their core, they're kind of going to be the same. All right, so I'm just going to say, let's just put this back in fast mode. So we'll go in fast mode and then say implement the plan. Right. And again, I guess I'm just griping because I just like a button that just says, you know, I like it, approved, go do it. All right, so we're going to approve the plan. And let's see what happens. Now, if we can get something running in Remotion that again, I'm not looking for polish here. I'm just looking for workflows, right? Trying to understand like the best way to set up a project and future projects for like Remotion, that kind of thing. In a broader sense, I'm trying to get a better feel for the best way to structure my projects, where the skills go, whether they're global, whether they're project specific, that kind of thing. But right now it's doing the thing. It's going to ask me for permissions. Again, you can, I think, adjust these permissions, like how lenient you want to be with it asking you to do stuff, or not. In this case, I think I have the default setting, so it's going to ask me for permission quite often. Unlike maybe setting up a Claude bot or whatever, where it just does things, or you give it full reign. But in this particular case, it's just going to continue to ask me for things. So it's creating files. I think we should be able to see those files in the, we'll take a look at it once it's done compiling. I kind of like having this screen up because then you can kind of see the logic behind what's happening behind these prompts. But if you think about most of the stream so far, it hasn't really been prompting. I think I've thrown like 4 prompts at it so far. I haven't kept track, but we like the prompting hasn't been the majority of the process so far. So far, the majority of the process has been just Antigravity thinking and doing and planning, and actually, honestly, just planning. And now we're actually doing. But in terms of direction, really, for me, it's been maybe 4 prompts. It's just like, I want to do this thing with Remotion. I want to build a property showcase listing. I want the data to come from Zillow, and I want to use Firecrawl to do that. And really, the only dependency is making sure that you configure the MCP server for Firecrawl. And it's trash day, so if you hear some trash compacting, then that's what that sound is. All right, MPX, TSC, no, some of these things I don't, again, just don't know, but assume that we need to do them to get the thing done, so just approve. I imagine with most vibe coding, it is like that, where most vibe coders aren't inherently programmers, you know, so I don't have a computer science degree, but just if you look at the stuff long enough, like last year, I honestly, not that long ago, I had no idea like what localhost did, where localhost exists, or anything like that. It's just, but if you spend enough time in any of these, on any of these projects, then you'll figure it out sooner than later. All right, so work has been completed. The video generator has been implemented successfully. I've set up the project with high-end dynamic template that showcases real estate listings. So what did it do? It created a type.ts TypeScript file to define the project structure. It created the public, the Zillow data based on the listing. So in this particular case, we're looking at a really expensive house in Beverly Hills, $100 million on Arkle Drive, in case you got $100 extra million to spend and need something to spend it on. Slide components. Intro slide features a grand entrance with a hero image and address. Detail slide sleekly presents the price, beds, baths, square foot with sliding animation. A dynamic slideshow with a Ken Burns effect. So I think that's that specific style of transition. Slow zoom effect to showcase property photos. Outro slide displays the agent's contact information with the professional gradient design. So I'm guessing it scraped the agent data as well. I can't imagine it just wanted to throw that in at the end, unless it's just trained on like real estate videos, which it might be. So how to preview. So since dev is already running, we should just be able to go to localhost and see it in our folder. So let's just see if we can get localhost to fire this up. All right, so it is in fact in, here we go. So here's the listing. I've not seen this. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if it's going to work, but that is the picture of the property. So I'm not sure if that's the lead image that I would want to go with for a $100 million property. So that's something else to consider. Maybe we could use like, what do you call it? The multimodal aspect of Antigravity to assess the images and figure out which one should be the cover and then which one should be, you know, the following. Because this just looks like I mean, it's nice and all, but it's not $100 million, like nice looking. All right, so we'll just play this real quick. All right, so it pops up the address, luxury living redefined. Not bad. Okay. Gallery 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so again, not bad, honestly. I mean, like, so yes, basic, super basic, but this was done programmatically. So from here, obviously you spend time like with these transitions, the thing that I was talking about with which image, you know, how you want to present this data. But for less than a handful of actual prompts from me, some guidance, it went out, it got the listing data from Zillow, it pulled the images or cached the images. I'm not really sure what's happening here, but it shows the right data. So it's got some interesting effects. And like, you know, maybe this isn't prime for $100 million property, like in terms of like the luxury feel that you would want from something like this. But if this is a house in like the valley, if this is a, you know, an average house for an average market, right? Or just, you know, not not high-end luxury, you could get away with this. You basically can render this out. You'd have your information, you'd have your phone number, you have the basics, you have the property listing, you have a few photos, stuff like that, and you have contact information at the end, call to action. So yes, sure, you can like tweak this to your heart's content, but this is all I wanted to test this morning. So in that sense, it's working. Let's do one more thing. Let's just look at what it actually produced in terms of the assets. So I'm going to put this back in the middle and we'll take a look and see what we have. So here's the Zillow data. I'm just going to close this terminal down here. I think that probably just crashed, or probably just closed the Remotion instance. But I just wanted to show you what it scraped. So it's got the agent information, it's got the address, price. So here's the schema that it grabbed. So address, price, specs, beds, bath, square footage, description. So, you know, the view estate is a serene architect. So what you could do with the description, I think, is put the audio. So the next thing I would probably want to do with this is throw it into, or just fetch or generate some audio, like, you know, like over like a voiceover audio. So I would use 11 Labs or something like that. Have it read the description. So the description would be, you know, it would read the description as a voiceover. This isn't scripted as a voiceover, but that would be the idea, again, in terms of talking about next steps for this. So it's got the images. Again, we talked about the images and how we want to show them. It would be, you probably want a skill that can like assess the images and figure out which one should be the lead image, and then, you know, do that kind of thing. And then the agent information, which I suspect would be real. I don't have any. Let's see if we can verify the realness of the listing, but let me see. Where is my screen with the... All right, so this is, let's just take a look and see if the agent information, just vetting the data. So Rainey Williams is the primary 310-626-4248. And then we'll just go back to, let me just kick this over here. 310-626-4248, Beverly Hills Real Estates. Yes, the brokerage is correct and the name is correct. So agent information is correct. It's accurate. $100 million, 8 bedrooms. Yeah, 11 baths, 18,000 square feet. So the data is legit. The listing is legit. Yes, the video could be a little bit more interesting, more compelling, more snazzy, more luxurious. But as a skill, let's just take a look and see if it created any additional skills. Doesn't look like it created additional skills, but it did create some components. We've got the slides. So the detail slide, the gallery slide, the intro slide, the outro slide. general composition, I believe. This is the listing data. Yeah, so those are all the things that it produced as a result of our efforts in Agent Manager in terms of like what we built out. So again, we'll just close it with the final thing just to, but I think I did it. I think the terminal is closed. So I don't know if no, okay. So we'll throw this back up one more time and we'll just wrap the stream. All right, so the idea here was to create a real estate listing video based on Remotion by using Zillow, public data, using Firecrawl to scrape the data, and then Remotion to build it. So this was Antigravity, Remotion, Zillow, and Firecrawl to get the Zillow data to produce this asset. So again, very basic example, but something you could easily do. This took less than 30 minutes from a fresh install in an empty workspace project. The only thing that I had done prior to hopping on the stream was installing Remotion, which takes 30 seconds. So that's here nor there. But hopefully you can see the power of something like this and how you could do this for almost anything. You could showcase whatever. In this particular case, it's real estate videos, but just think about the broader applications of what Remotion might work for. I say that because there's a lot of, especially on X, people are hyping Remotion, like, showing like these crazy animations. And it's just like this running gag joke that like, motion designers are fired and this, that, and the other. But they're not even developed in Remotion. It's just like this running joke. So it's really hard to get an actual sentiment and find real case studies of Remotion in action. So I just wanted to put this in front of the wherever this ends up, just as a quick demo to show you how it actually works without any, sort of BS. Like this is just empty project, a handful of prompts, and here we are. So hopefully that was helpful. If it was, follow me in future streams. I'll pop on. I can't say that I have a schedule for these streams yet, but just the idea is to vibe code and drink some coffee and share some wisdom. So stay tuned for the next one. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have questions, follow me, find me anywhere anywhere I happen to be. I won't be here because I don't have this kind of budget yet for this house, but maybe sometime in the future, maybe if this blows up, so make it go viral, and so we can all go check out this $100 million property in Beverly Hills. All right, see you.